idea of starting his own business or continuing his business in the method. I was mentioning while you were off a moment ago that I know 2 or 3 of our user group members that aren't able to be here tonight are excited to watch this interview and presentation time afterwards when we post it up online. One of those being Pete Good. I don't know if you remember him. He hasn't gone to as many conventions, but he met you when you came to speak at the Charlotte Day of DNN. The first one where, to my knowledge, that was one of the first times you kind of presented your idea on business management and running, and that sparked, yeah. We'll talk about that in a second. But he was really excited to know that you were coming back, and he hates that he can't be here tonight. So when we get started recording, he says he will be ready to watch this and says hi. So kick off recording. We'll kind of introduce this meeting, and I'll get started. All right.
Go ahead.
Well, welcome everybody to the July meeting of the Carolina DNN user group. We have renamed to be the Southern Fried DNN user group. That name changed after the QC Doug website and domain expired on us. But we're pretty excited about that because SoFri, or Southern Fried DNN, is certainly who we are. We're more than just the Queen City. We're more than just Charlotte or the Carolinas. I've had people in Florida and Georgia get excited about listening to and watching user group meetings and participating. So that's what we are. We're Southern Fried DNN, and as often as we get together, we like to bring in interesting people to talk with us, interesting folks to share their stories and share their ideas with us. And at least in every meeting, we'll talk a little bit about DNN problems that people have and share some good stories. So kind of jumping right into a couple of different things. For this meeting, for this session, we have Gifford Watkins with us. And, you know, I should have brought it up before I started here, but we do have my, my introduction screen for who we have on. Do me a favor, Stephen, though, and let me know, since I did switch Windows 8 Metro, does the GoToMeeting show the JPEG image full screen, or is that not showing on this shared desktop?
Doesn't look like it's full screen. Looks like there's
but it is showing you at least Gifford's
yes.
Gifford's headshot and title here, right?
Right. Yep.
All right. So we have with us Gifford Watkins, DNN MVP from a few years back, and the head of his company, Atlantic Web Fitters. And really this is a session that is fairly informal. There's not a particular structure for the evening's event other than the idea that we love to have people come in, and if they have projects, if they have modules, if they have great stories to share with us, we love to have those conversations, and that's why we've invited Gifford in with us tonight. Before we actually get into some of what I want to ask Gifford and talk about, I actually want to have a little bit of a segue in that none of us here had a chance to go to DNN Connect. DNN Connect was the recent convention that was in France, and none of us went, except for Gifford. Gifford was there. Gifford, would you do us a favor and give us a highlight or a recap of your thoughts of the event, so that we can live vicariously through you just a little bit?
Sure, absolutely. Packed up the wife and baby, and we took off and went to Malou.
Everyone went. That's fantastic.
Yeah, it was. It was quite an ordeal to go. Kate, my little girl, she's just, she was almost 6 months. So after Malou, she turned 6 months while we were in Paris. So we got some photos under the Eiffel Tower with her. It's pretty neat. But the conference, we went over a few weeks early and just kind of toured around a little bit. Went down to Greece for a while, and then up to Switzerland, and spent a few days with Peter Donker there. As you know, Peter Donker has been spearheading the DNN Connect, initiative, which is our strongest representation for the community. And so it was great to spend time with him. He's a wonderful conversationalist, and we certainly enjoyed meeting his wife and family and staying in his chalet on the side of a mountain. And we jumped in his car and took off to Malou, and I was able to meet with the organizers there a couple days before the event started. So it was nice to meet David and Kathy Lee, Philip Becker, and Vincent, all of which now I believe are MVPs, which was pretty neat to see happen. The event was like none other for one good reason, and that was there was unlimited beer.
That was one of the things that we looked at on the. That was one of the things that we looked at on the original notes. That some sponsor was sponsoring the unlimited alcohol for the night, and I thought that was a great sponsorship.
Well, we had to get a few more sponsors because the numbers of kegs they thought they would go through, we just about doubled. I don't think they knew who they were dealing with. So,
do you feel it was well attended?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there was well over 100 people there, but those people, again, like the events over here in the West, most of those events are attended by people that we've met before at DNN events. There were a few Americans that were over there. Sean Walker was there. It was great to see him. And Oliver Hine went. Mitch Sellers went. It's great to see those guys. I always look forward to connecting with them. And in a beautiful spot like Malou, it was really nice to see everybody there. Plus, a lot of the MVPs that I had not met in person before were there. Michael Tobish, Peter Donker. I've only briefly spoken with Peter, but too many others to name. But it was definitely keeps the same spirit as a family reunion. Very informal, but the tracks were bang on. They were really informative, and it was great to see. This would be the first year of the association, the DNN Connect Association. So we had our AGM to discuss, upcoming challenges around the shift from web forms to MVC. So we're, everybody's on pins and needles. There hasn't been a whole lot of chatter since the event, and I think it's because people are still processing what their roles are going to be to keep the DNN project alive and to keep the DNN community intact. And for a lot of us, we need to see the community grow. So we need to keep up with the technology that's modern. And as you know, web forms is becoming more and more obsolete. And so we've spent a lot of time brainstorming, and no ideas were bad as far as how we're going to maintain what we all consider to be a .NET Nuke family.
There was also going to be a group build or a group session where everyone got together and built something. Did that end up happening? Was that fun?
Yeah, it was. The format was that if anybody has built or done anything as far as setting up a niche market portal or a particular version of DNN, version by any assembly of modules or what have you that would appeal to any particular niche market, that you could bring a poster. And those posters were up in one of the main beer areas, and so folks got to stand by their work, and you were able to engage them. So if you were looking for a storefront, say, then you would talk to David Lee about NB Store, and he could tell you the ins and outs, and offer support. There's nothing better. The only thing better than a great DNN module is a great DNN backer, and that's the person who builds the module, who stands behind the product so that you feel comfortable putting something like that into production. It really does take, I think anyhow, a supported module to be a strong module, and those modules, when put together, can offer you a vertical DNN solution that could carry you well into the future, keep you razor focused. Yeah, it was very informal and lots of fun to meet the module creators.
I'm excited about that idea, and I will look into it a little more to find out, because that to me speaks to a lot of what all of us as DNN integrators do when we build something and DNN is our core base platform. We go and we build, like my own company, we build a system that's a camp website system. We build another system that's a real estate system. We build another system that's, and it's DNN at the core, but that's a great idea to allow people to show that off and show how proud they are of these verticals that they've built.
Yes.
And
Well,
I love that.
yeah. Well, remember last time we met, you had your computer open. I looked over your shoulder and said, "Oh my gosh, what are you doing with DNN?" Right? And then you couldn't get rid of me for an hour, right? Because I'm learning.
Right.
Well, that's exactly what this was. It was a formal yet informal presentation for module developers and skinners too. Peter Donker actually developed the module so that you can invite. If you put on another conference, you grab the module from Peter, and people can populate it with the module, and it'll actually print out the poster that you're going to want to pin up and have folks stand by.
Make a note of that. It's Peter made that. We're gonna go talk to Peter about that when we start to organize. All right, I like that. I tell you, that's kind of a good segue to get started with some of your things that I want to talk with you about tonight. Just to share a little bit for everybody watching later on, my first introduction to Gifford was through conventions, through either Day of .NET Nukes or DNN World that I've been to a few different times. And I've certainly met Gifford again and again and again, and it's like a family reunion every time we see, when we see people and we're like, oh, look, there's Mitt, oh, there's Giff, this is fantastic. If you're caught at a DNN After Dark or at any social amount of time, Gifford is the guy you want to go sit down and talk with, because you're going to get excellent stories. You're going to have an evening of conversation that doesn't stop. And so I first met Gifford at either a DNN World or a Day of DNN. I can't actually recall. I certainly missed Gifford at the last two DNN cons that we went to. But Gifford each year was doing something fantastic. DNN Con next to last, previous, was when you got married, Gifford.
Yeah, that's just I do certainly.
I mean, remember that was when it was us. And then the next DNN Con you weren't at as well, and it's because that was roughly 6-some months ago, and that's when you had your baby daughter.
Yeah, that's right.
So, congratulations. Double woohoo is coming through in the quotes from the Peanut Gallery. What a great reason to miss you and to have you not be at a convention, to have some exciting life things happening for you there. We all clapped and were excited, even though we weren't there to say congratulations in person.
Well, it was hard not to honeymoon at the DNN Con in Florida, and then it was again, hard to not find a midwife in the .NET New community and bring my wife down. I missed those conferences for sure, but if the session goes well, maybe I won't have to keep expanding the community by having more children. Maybe we can get some new lifers.
Well, so one of the folks here in the user group that was really touched by meeting you and hearing the things you had to say was from a session that you gave at a Day of DNN that was here in Charlotte. It was the session that we had the year before we did Southern Fried DNN, which actually at this very moment I just realized you're wearing the t-shirt. So thank you very much. That is excellent.
Absolutely.
That session you gave was one that, to paraphrase your title and your sentiment in it, was that you wanted to talk about running a DNN-driven business and being not only just a development shop and a hosting shop, but making the best of what DNN could do for you to build what I kind of called the 100 by 100 method, where you were looking for 100 clients, $100 a month, you're out. That's it. That's your group of people you were going to manage. That's your set of DNN instances. And, some days it's better, some days it's worse. Your striving towards that goal, and that's the nut of the business model. And I remember that being exciting. I remember that being an idea that a lot of us were talking about afterwards. One of our user group members really loved that, and he decided that that's what he was going to do to restructure his business, and he was going to go after that model. Now, I believe that he's structured a little differently, so he's going after $50 a month. So, $150 a month, that's his set. And he's working towards it. And every day, new client, new addition, new people onto the set. He might have to take care of a few more things, but that's his structure. And that's one of the things I wanted to have you talk about tonight was, how is that going for you, and how maybe has that changed any? What's the 2015 update for that idea?
It definitely is what it is, and I wouldn't stray from the business model. I would, in fact, when I go and speak at these conferences, I don't think that I'll ever have a different topic to speak on, because I can't think of any way to better perpetuate the community and to keep people interested in DNN than to provide them with the means to earn the kind of income that they're going to defend. And that's really what we need. We need .NET Nuke apologists, people who are ready to defend against Joomla, people who are ready to defend against WordPress, to name a few CMSs. We've got to defend each other. We've got to safeguard our community. And the best way to do that is to make sure that you've got a guaranteed residual income. And this is exactly what we're going to talk about again tonight. In Milieu, when I stood up and presented this, my challenge was, and I'll present the same challenge here tonight, folks, if you have a better business model for .NET Nuke, for sustainable income, we need to hear it. I may not be the be-all and end-all. I think I am, and I've been unrivaled as far as presenting this business model. But if anybody else out there has a better business model, then speak up. And just because I chose one doesn't mean that there's others that aren't as good. It's whatever whatever it takes to convince people that this is your printing press, this is your mint, this is open source software that allows you to create as much income as you want, depending on your the amount of effort you put into being a quality, relationship-oriented person.
With that as a good introduction, do you want to switch and we'll share your screen and you can kind of kick off a few of the slides that you had for us? Stephen,
sure,
do you want to switch?
Well, I hope I do this right. Okay, we'll jump here. So scratch that first slide. I was wondering what happened to your .com.
Yes, our poor .com was apparently not well prepared or protected, but bigger and better things ahead.
Yeah, understood. Well, you'll have to forgive me. I grabbed the logo and put it on all my slides.
Oh, no worries at all. David mentions that we should take that point to mention that it is southernfrieddnn.com.
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, okay. So maximizing your income with the DNN platform. That is what it is. And I'm just going to go through these slides quickly. If anybody would like a copy of these slides, I'll post these up. I always put this testimonial up because it was written by the author of Maverick and His Machine, the story of Thomas Watson, founder of IBM. I think it's a good idea to get testimonials that make a lot of sense to people, and shoot for the moon. I found 4 typos in his third release of his book, and sent him an email and said, "Hey, I found typos in your book." And he's like, "Who is this guy?" And I got a chance to talk to him about who I am. I am not by any means of training, a technologist actually would be far more comfortable in a lobster boat or behind a pulpit. So when I did find .NET Nuke, I was very excited, but I also was well undereducated as far as how to run a technology company. So I started reading books, and one of the first ones was The Maverick and His Machine. There's other ones that folks can read where you can develop ideas about how you want to set up your business. I read all these books.
Now, if you'll click on your slide, so we'll see it larger screen.
I think it's gone into presentation mode.
Yeah, I don't think it's gone into presentation mode. Or if you'll just click on the slide so we can see the quote. There we go.
So you can see that okay?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So when I blew mine up, it blanked it out. Okay.
Must have.
So yeah, I understood. Okay, good. So anyhow, there's a testimonial that was written. It took me 3 or 4 years to get the courage up to ask Kevin Maney to write a testimonial, and it pretty much says it all. So again, I went through and I read so many biographies of people who built technology companies and ultimately took them public, and studied their business models and tried desperately to implement those. But it did still take me 3 or 4 years of one-off projects to develop a residual income. Until that point, I was living from project to project, and even though some of those projects can get up into the 5 figures, when you break those down over 6 months or 9 months or a year, it's still eking out a living. And I don't know about you guys, but man, I remember being gainfully employed and putting in my 40+ hours a week and living in terror, right? I mean, I really was always scared I was going to lose my job. I've got a big mouth, I'm outspoken, I can make people mad real fast and get sacked real quick. So when I found .NET Nuke, I really wanted to build something that somebody couldn't take away from me, couldn't take away my livelihood. And with 100+ clients, hey, if 3 people fire me, it's not the end of the world, right? I don't have to scramble and wonder how I'm going to make next month's mortgage payment. So
right.
I think it's extremely important that people understand that what I'm going to show you is, it's behind the curtain. It's the back office stuff about my story, developing a sustainable business model. So I'm the founder and CEO of Atlantic Web Fitters. That's the name of my company. I'll post this up at the end if there's anybody that would like to follow up with me or look at my curriculum vitae. You can go to LinkedIn. Be my friend on Facebook. My interest in presenting here tonight is hopefully to develop a meaningful relationship with somebody who is inspired to be successful. And lots of people help me be successful. I ask lots of questions of lots of people and talk to people about their business models. And I'm here to do that too. Consider me your brother in the community. And any time you want to reach out to me and bounce some ideas, I'm all ears. We need to learn from each other. So I always put this up, and usually the slide afterwards show the other sessions that are going on, but tonight I have a captive audience. So those slides are rolling?
The slides are rolling. David was asking if you could try presentation mode again, that way it could be even larger.
Okay.
I don't know if you hit presentation mode before and it went off to a different screen.
Okay, let me see what I can do. So, presentation, just the PowerPoint there.
David or Steven, there's a shortcut key. David chimes in. It's F5 on your keyboard. Puts it into presentation mode and jumps it right into that if you want to try.
Okay, so F5 on the browser.
Yeah, it did. Well, continue. Sorry, don't want to interrupt.
Let's see if I can get these slides a little bigger. So does that help at all? Are you still seeing all the preview of the slides on
It
the
certainly
left?
does. It certainly does.
Okay, so if I go to slideshow, does that show up?
Nope. Or rather, we still see the slides on the side. Your set of slides and the preview on the right.
All right, well, that looks like it's as good as it's going to get.
That's good for me.
Oh, use presenter view?
Yeah, did you set the share a window or a screen?
All right,
But we're good. It is larger. Yep.
okay, good.
Thank you, Giff.
Yeah, no problem, guys. So my preamble is there's simply nothing in the world like conquering the tides of fortune, of finances. You know, most of us live up and down as far as money goes, and the .NET New community is no exception. Doing one-off projects and living from project to project, I just got tired of that, and you know, I wanted big projects because I needed, you know, to sustain my livelihood. The great thing about developing the business model that I have was once I was able to bring enough clients on board, I could let go of my publicly traded companies. I could let go of my government not companies, but clients. I fired anybody that was big. I just you know, waited for the right time and let them go. Became concerned about liability. You know, all it takes is one company who was running their complete firm from a .NET Nuke installation. A lot of the installs I used to do were complete back-end office environments. So if the portal went offline for any reason, they sent all their employees home and sometimes sustained losses in the tens or sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars a day. That made me very nervous, right? So again, looking out for number one, gotta look at liability risks, and now I deal with the much smaller companies, and almost, let's say 90% of the time, I deal exclusively with a single point of contact, usually the CEO or the president of that company. But it does take money to live in this world, and I believe that making money is what the MIT license is all about. So my given is I'm going to throw back the curtain and show you how you can put your money problems to rest. You know, we've all heard these charlatans out there that are like, you know, make $10,000 a month doing this or that or what have you, licking envelopes or something. This is the real deal, and I'm really proud of what I've accomplished. Not only am I proud of it from a professional perspective, but my wife is proud of what I do, and because I run my company at home, I'm able to see all the things that a lot of people miss by going to the office. So I'm hoping that by showing you this business model, you can at least consider a different lifestyle that is the result of having a residual and recurring revenue stream. Your benefit, I hope, is that you'll leave the session confident, that you'll see that this is something that really needs serious consideration for your own mental health, for the mental health of your family. I just think that there's too much at stake in this very short lifetime not to find the best way to produce an income. So maximizing the income, we know, everybody knows, I'm sure, who's in the room or online with us here, that the MIT license is a license without restriction. It's the most liberal software license on the planet, and it gives us the ability to do whatever we want with .NET Nuke. If you want to modify the code or merge it or change it, sell it if you want to, or lease it out to offer a software as a service, or to just simply support it. I think it's incredible that the MIT license was even invented. And when I read it carefully, you know, I ran it by my lawyer and said, you know, there's a piece of software that hundreds of people, if not thousands, all over the world are contributing to. And this tells me I can do whatever I want with this. He's like, yeah, it sure is. That's the MIT license. So we've got permission to do what we're doing today. Here's a couple slides I stole from DNN Corp. They're some of their clients that they have. They're big names using DNN. It's a defensible piece of software, and lots more are jumping on board. If that's not enough to see there, you recognize the majority, if not all, of those logos. Here's a bunch more. Banks are using it. You know, Comcast is one of the biggest telecommunications companies on the planet. These guys are using it. So hey, if we can offer the same software for free for a very small entry point to smaller companies, then we're giving them a multi-million-dollar head start, in my opinion, and that's worth this next slide alone. So the status quo that's out there, to me, is that websites are created by webmasters, and that creates a web slave situation. So you've got all kinds of people who have websites, but they may or may not have the means to be able to update those. If they don't have the means, in other words, if it isn't a web-based solution or have a web-based back end or administration, then the guy that owns the website, the web slave, is pretty much hoping that the webmaster's never going to go away, and they do go away. There's all kinds of reasons why these relationships are dissolved. It's not very uncommon for me to if I make 10 phone calls, 2 of those phone calls, I'm told that the webmaster's no longer part of the equation, and they don't know what they're going to do. So if I'm in an elevator and somebody says, what do? I say, well, you've heard of a website. Webmasters create websites, and that creates a web slave situation. I'm the Moses of IT. I set web slaves free, and by that, I use .NET Nuke to allow people back-end access so that they can manage simple edits and content changes on their site. Feel free to use that. If you tell somebody you're the Moses of IT, you set web slaves free, believe me, that will make its way to the supper table, and if you're lucky, it'll make it to the boardroom table. So if you want your 20-second pitch, remember that web slaves need to be set free, and we have the wherewithal to do that. Everybody has house keys. Everybody has car keys. Again, .NET Nuke provides a set of web keys, and it's a good, strong case for anybody out there that has a HTML site. And well, if you can't update, then you're really in trouble. So Microsoft says it's okay. They're fully on board. And they've been supporting the .NET Nuke initiative since they created the first salary for Charles Nurse at what would soon to be DNN Corp. Sean Walker also was heavily subsidized by Microsoft, and both those gentlemen, I believe, are still MVPs in the Microsoft community. .NET Nuke says it's okay, so everybody in the community would love to have you be a part of the community and use the software to create revenue. So everybody says it's okay. You've got no naysayers in the crowd here. My pitch to you is websites. Otherwise known as shacks, hovels, abandoned, orphaned, widowed, diseased, outdated, HTML, WordPress, Cold Fusion, and a myriad of other content management systems that are subpar or have open source databases. These are, this is the opportunity. I say convert them all. If 3 people are calling the same company saying, hey, you got to convert to .NET Nuke, guess what? One of those 3 is probably going to win that client over. And that's one more client, that's one more income or one more revenue stream that's coming into the .NET Nuke community. And every dollar that each individual earns, every firm, every entrepreneur earns, for the .NET New community is going to strengthen it. I've spent tens of thousands of dollars of money that I've earned offering up .NET New to attend conferences and to forge relationships with people in the .NET New community, and that's money well spent. Here's a person who may have a nice website, but hey, it's HTML. Here's a person with .NET New. They're able to, you know,
Call the
blast
shots.
it out there. Call the shots. That's right. Here's Wonder Woman. And here's a guy that's looking rather unfortunate. These are the web slaves that are out there, you know. You can have a three-piece suit on, but if your website is outdated by any means, then, you know, this is the guy, right? It's a matter of fact that websites experience entropy, and that just simply means that, you know, yesterday's news is not necessarily news that's relevant tomorrow. So a website that you can update easily. Here's a bunch of women there. Look, they all have .NET New. They're very happy. So we're turning miserable situations into very happy ones, right? The end result should be that, you know, you have a collection of clients who have nowhere to go. Once you're free, you're free. You're free to update your site. You're free to manage the content. You're free to manage the relationships that occur as a result of having an up-to-date website. My point here is saying that once .NET Nuke is in place for a client, there's nowhere else to go. There's nothing higher on the, forgive the term, evolutionary technology scale. There's nothing higher than what we're offering. This is the ultimate software solution, web-based software solution. So once it's in place, there's no reason why you should lose clients to attrition, especially if you stay focused on the quality of your relationships. There's a lot of people out there that, you know, get hundreds, some people get thousands of clients. Put them up in a hosting situation, and while they may have a lot of clients, the quality of their relationship may not be anywhere near having a small group of 100. I kind of think of them as a flock, right? So I tell people that Atlantic Web Fitters is first and foremost a relationship firm with IT solutions. We want to partner up with people. I don't put in a solution that I think is going to be obsolete in a year. I tell them that I won't put anything in that doesn't have a 10-year shelf life. And that's the goal for every client. I want them to know that, you know, yeah, we're going to build you a website, but we're going to stick with you. We're going to be in your corner. We're going to look at your competition. We're going to go to your competitors' websites that are ranking higher than you on Google. We're going to pull out all their source code and strip their keywords and phrases, and we're going to jam them into the pages of your .NET Nuke installation. This is a no-holds-barred situation. I have a client, I'm in their corner, right, so that they can focus on what they do best, which is running their company. So let's get into the business model a little bit. For anybody out there who may be wondering, you know, well, how much are you talking about here? So let's talk about this number. So you choose $120,000 a year, and as Ryan mentioned, that's $100 a month per client. I've faced a lot of flack with people saying, well, it's hard to get people that are interested in, you know, if they can get a .NET Nuke site on GoDaddy for $4 a month, how do you justify getting them a .NET Nuke installation and requesting or asking for $100 a month? And I say, well, it's the difference between a relationship with you and a relationship with GoDaddy. I think that a GoDaddy relationship would cost. I would pay $100 a month to not have a relationship with GoDaddy, simply because they don't focus exclusively on .NET Nuke, nor do they focus on quality relationships. They don't care who they have as a client. And you'll find that $4 a month can quickly change once you have some sort of database corruption or any kind of problem at all. You're on the clock with them. So $4 a month may end up being a lot more. And if your site goes offline and it's business critical, then you're in even more trouble than that. So this number is extremely relative. And I'll go into a little bit more around the $100 a month and how you can justify that and much more per month per client. But the golden ticket or the golden rule is 100 clients per month. You get 100 clients on board. Even if you're working at maximum capacity to support 100 clients, that's still 100 hours a month. Most of us are used to working 160 plus hours a month. A lot of the work that I do for clients, if you consider $100 a month being a chunk of 12 hours annual, often what I do is if I'm working with a client, let's say I bring them on with an SLA of 12 hours, I may spend 6 to 8 hours initially doing the SEO, the SEO setup, the due diligence, the competitive analysis. So then after that's done, I'll touch base with them once a quarter, right? So anyhow, 100 clients, even if you're working at maximum capacity of 100 hours a month, you're still working part-time, making far more than I made as a slave in the cogs of corporate America or Canada. So this one slide says it all as far as my business model goes. I tell people it's a 12 to 60 hour setup. It's a 12 to 60 hours annual support. Again, you've got 100 clients paying 100 a month, or 50 clients paying 200 a month, or as our fine friend, new convert to my business model, he may be going after 200 clients at 50 a month, and all that's great. Whatever you can get above and beyond the cost of your base cost, exactly, your hosting situation is great. So I'll just add quickly, choose your modules and skins carefully. One of the detriments of putting in a .NET Nuke installation is people want, sometimes wacky functionality. Don't panic. If somebody wants something that's truly ridiculous, then tell them that's truly ridiculous. Or if there's a module out there that does perform the function that they're looking for, read the testimonials. In my case, hey, I call these guys up and say, listen, got a client who's interested in your module. I have no problem paying you for the enterprise version of that model, but what I want from you is I want you to pick up the phone or answer my emails when I contact you, right? Don't embarrass me. Don't embarrass yourself. We're in this together. As soon as you add a skin that's a third-party skin or a third-party module, that you have to realize that you're in partnership now with another entity offering a solution that is going to make or break your reputation.
GIF and the Peanut Gallery, there are people who like your style, and they're starting to chime in that you're taking control and you're cracking the whip and you're keeping control, which is the part of the exciting and alluring part of how this model works, is that you stay in control and you let the things in that you want and keep control. So I have to ask though, just recognizing them by their pictures, we've got Sebastian Leopold on one side, we've got Peter Donker on the other side. Who's in the middle? Is this Beatrice? Is this Nina Meyer? Who is this?
No, that's Oliver Hine.
Oh, that's Oliver Hine. Oh, okay, all right.
As you know, Peter Donker has the DMX module, which is the the document exchange, document management module. Sebastian is absolutely unparalleled in database manipulation. I've had I've actually, if anybody out there is still having trouble with the spam bot, if you've got 60,000 spam registrations in a DNN install and a client didn't let you know that that was going on, give Sebastian a call. I'll mention one other module by Oliver Hine, and that's his Escher module, which is a photo gallery module. I moved into a niche market where I was interested in portfolio websites, and rather than saddle my server with everybody knows what can happen with the wrong photo presentation module, is that you can end up, if your clients do not crop or resize their files, their image files, and they upload them, it can add quite a bit of bloat to your DNN install, especially when you're talking about hundreds or thousands of images. Oliver's Escher module is an instance you can add to a page, and you go into the settings and you reference a Gmail account. From that Gmail account, you can pull in albums. So Google Apps actually handles, or Google Pics, or Picasa, I guess formerly, handles all of the load, the server load for those images, and you can present those on a page in a plethora of different presentation styles, whether it's thumbnails or slideshows or slide strips. Absolutely brilliant. I've been using this module and for a number of years now, and have as a result forged a very deep relationship with Oliver. Love these guys. Again, these guys are absolutely hardcore open source module developers. These are the pillars, and again, just these three, my goodness, there's so many that are out there. You can, more than likely, if you go to the MVP page on the .NET Nuke site, then you'll see these guys. Forge relationships with them, find out what they have for modules, test them out, give them feedback. They're moving most of their stuff to GitHub now. So, but let me just backtrack a little bit. I am absolutely iron-fisted when it comes to dealing with my clients, which means, hey, no host access for clients. Okay, don't do that. Don't do it to them. Don't do it to you. Right? Don't even offer it as an option. Okay, it's fine to mention that you're putting in .NET Nuke as the web application framework if you're dealing with a company that's looking for some sort of indemnity or background on what you're putting in. But you know what? Most people don't care what technology is going in. They just want to make sure that it works like it's supposed to work. They can make the edits that they're anticipating making. You tell somebody you're putting in a web application framework, and they can go to Snowcover, pull down and buy any module and upload it to the site. You guys have all seen websites. Yeah, absolutely. Just completely destroy the database. I mean, you got to go. You can't even pull those modules out if they're not written properly. If they don't install right, you've got legacy child data structures that are in there. Yeah, absolutely. Be iron-fisted. Protect your clients from too much knowledge. And because too much knowledge doesn't necessarily mean that you're empowering them. What may be their empowerment may be their .NET Nuke installation's downfall. So I don't let clients see that. They get what they get. If they have additional functionality, then I can help guide them. Hey, if they want to revamp and do a new skin, I will choose very carefully half a dozen skins from reputable lifers, .NET Nuke hardcore people that I know aren't going anywhere, whether they're firms or individuals, and I will give them a choice of reputable skins that they can choose from. And the skins that are out there now, I mean, some of these skins have plugins that you can go in and change all the CSS, change the navigation, change the pane layouts, and you'll see the evolution of DNN platform will be along those lines. It will be a challenge for skinners. I'm sure that they'll still stay strong, but I like being able to modify the CSS of a .NET Nuke install without jumping into the CSS. I'm one of those guys that learned CSS from Notepad, and you know, when you upload a CSS sheet 65 times to get something right, it's much nicer to be able to go into a skin control function and be able, with a few clicks, make those changes. And once again, clients don't need to know that kind of stuff. So choose those modules and skins carefully. Your reputation is on the line for those. I'll just say this too: choose your hoster carefully. Whether you're hosting in-house, hey, if you're hosting in-house, then great. You know, you're completely responsible for your own success or demise. But if you go with a third-party hoster, then my goodness, do be careful. That's your partner. Okay, that's your partner, and he has way, or he or she has, or they have way more control over your destiny than you do. If all of a sudden they decide they're going to sell out to a high bidder, hey, you may have just lost your point of contact in your own business. And believe me, I've migrated dozens and dozens of websites when I first started out dealing with, you know, the first thing I did when I found .NET Nuke is I bought 2 big Dell PowerEdge servers and put them in a guy's basement. And, you know, it wasn't too much longer after that, a couple years, that guy went through a divorce. And as a result of his divorce, he was out of the house. Now, I had dozens of business-critical .NET Nuke installations being moved out of a guy's basement into his apartment, right? Don't do it, right? Just don't take any chances. Believe me, I have had headaches enough for everybody in the room and online here with us today. Be careful.
So Gifford, what do you do now? Are you hosting yourself? Are you hosting internal? Are you at a data center in Atlanta or in the UK? Or are you with Managed or Applied Eye or one of the other DNN friendly focused hosts?
I have my own 2 guys. I have a guy here that works at the data center, and I have a guy down in the States that does the exact same thing. After dealing with firms and dealing with, and none in particular, and just in general, I wanted a man that I could call up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I knew he would answer his phone. That's what I wanted. That's the only way I was going to go ahead with that. And if anything should ever happen to either one of those guys, then I will probably bow out of hosting. In other words, I would go to Managed, or I would go to Applied Eye. Sorry?
You would be your last straw. That would be it. You would go. Stephen Bright asks, so far, how often do you have to call your man on the spot?
Never. Never. I send an email once in a while. I'd say never. 99.9. We're doing 5 nines of uptime now, and that's more than likely because Microsoft's technology has evolved and .NET Nuke, the platform has evolved, so we have a lot less. I mean, you know, everybody's seen the yellow screen of death too often in the past, and I think that all of us are seeing vast improvements in the architecture and in the way DNN stands up to enterprise conditions. So no, I stay in touch with my guys, but usually it's just with a paycheck every month, right? I pay them per installation, and that's all they do, and they're free to carry on. It took me 3 years to convince one of these guys to host .NET Nuke, and another 2 years before I would put a DNN installation in production with this guy. I am so psychotically careful when it comes to, again, being in relationship with anybody. The old adage that, you know, be careful who you get into bed with in business is nothing could be truer. and the fewer men I have to be in bed with, the better. So I've been able to find two, one here in Canada and one down in the States, and I would be happy to introduce their services to anybody who is looking for an individual. I don't feel like I'm competing against the big companies. Again, I have a very small collection of clientele, so I'm certainly a small drop in the bucket compared to the massive numbers of DNN installations that, say, managed or applied I are running.
Yep. So your next slide here is what is that? A bad installation or a bad business setup?
Hey, if you're not hosting .NET Nuke, then and there's a problem and you can't solve that. I mean, this is what a DNN installation that goes offline, to me, this is what I see. It's like it's the scariest thing ever, right? And I have thought time and time again that, you know, I wish I'd gone to school, and I wish that I had studied Microsoft SQL, and I wish that I had studied database administration and server administration, but you know, I need to stay focused on client acquisition, and I have never. I've been offered many times by my hosters, you know, hey, if you want FTP access, or if you want inside access to IIS or any of the things that run your installation, I say no. I want host access. It's the only level that I want to ever see. Nothing more than that, and that way I don't end up jumping in and trying to flip some switches, right? Again, when you're in business with somebody, you don't want to, I don't want to be crude, but hey, if you're in bed with a guy, he's got to stay on his side of the bed, and I don't want to cross that line. So if there's something wrong with the site, it goes offline. I don't have a guy saying, well, what did you do? They know that I didn't do anything, right? They know I didn't do anything. And so the responsibility and allocation of responsibility and duty stays absolutely crystal clear. And but yeah, it's you know, call up your hoster and say, you know, you gotta find out what's wrong with the site, and you know, make sure that your guys are doing the backups. Don't just make sure they're doing the backups. Everybody says they do backups. Make sure that they can restore backups. And when DNN and the levels of architecture were a little bit weaker, I knew how to destroy a DNN installation, and that's what I did for the people that host for me now. I was the guy that could go in with host access and blow up an installation on purpose and get them and make sure that they have backups. Just make sure that everything's running right on their end. You know, it's nobody wants to go in and check the backups for the heck of it if they know that it's absolutely important as far as their duties and responsibility. Then this should be what you end up with, something that makes sense, has its place in the world, your company, and let the seasons come and go as they will. I just thought this was a pretty picture, so I put this up here, and this symbolizes pretty much the state of my life, running a firm and being able to spend time doing the things that I love to do, which is spending time with my family and occasionally preaching and fishing. Do a lot of bass fishing.
Well, Gifford, thank you for that. That is certainly the vision and the well-metered, well-organized set of information that I was looking forward to for tonight. I remember this captivating a lot of conversation after that Ignite session from the Charlotte Day of DNN, and I'm sure that if you've shared and presented this at DNN Connect and in other locations, you've gotten everyone talking about it, because this is what drew many of us to start our own businesses and to become one-man development shops, or, you know, a team of people that we get together. Myself, I tell people often that I want to have my crew, and I want to be able to take the ship where I want to go, and I want to do things for client projects, but at the end of the day, it's my ship, and I could go anywhere I want to go. And DNN helped me get there towards that, but your business model can do that for anyone, whether they're a developer or not, if they're devoting themselves to DNN and see the potential that's there. And so thank you very much for sharing these ideas with us again, and you know, many congratulations to you and the business that you've built, the family that you've built, and I kind of feel lucky to be able to see this story grow and continue as you go through your years of running your business and you know, having a baby daughter and all of these things, and seeing how it comes together. Because at least from the outside, there's a Zen feeling of when we talk with you, when I talk with you, you are calm, you are centered, you do this for a living. I'm sure there are harried days and painful clients to deal with. I have the feeling that if they're painful too long, you get rid of them and they just go. Anyways, let me start to ask you a couple of the questions that I've seen come in, and a couple of questions that I had taken notes on. To Stephen's question about scaling, and Stephen, remind me or rephrase again if I'm asking this incorrectly, but here in the user group, we've seen a lot of different DNN instances and uses. I know some companies that will take and do a completely separate DNN instance for every major client. I know other people who, like Rutz, one of our guys in the user group here, he has hundreds, if not 400 to 500 websites, completely separate websites as portals inside of one DNN instance. So with you and what you're doing, has that been a mixture? Has that been one solid DNN instance, or a few solid DNN instances, or how have you approached it as you've grown and added more clients?
I give every client their own database, so no child portals.
Okay, so they are every client gets their own DNN instance, their own database.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I'm not saying that that's the best route to take, but once again, I've been at this with .NET Nuke. I'm in my 10th year running a .NET Nuke support company, when I first started out, if a site went offline, I could just imagine all the sites going offline.
Right.
I would never have the courage, but if you have the wherewithal to run, and again, you keep control of the modules and you keep control of the skins that are introduced, then by all means, I know that there's some out there that have thousands of websites running from a single database, and boy, I'll tell you, I've never inquired as to who those people are, or just because I'm just so cautious. I think it's just a very conservative approach, giving everyone their own, and I've even veered away from offering email for the same reason. You know, if Smarter Mail goes offline, absolutely not. I do run a Smarter Mail server all by itself, but bottom line is, hey man, send them to Google Apps, right? Let them get email from somebody that does that. I don't want to be an email support company, and 95% of my phone calls and support calls were around email. Yep. So stick with .NET Nuke and set those A records and CNAME records up to point in different directions, and one of them not at you.
Mm-hmm. You get a lot of support from Dustin here on that one. For the ones where we support email, it's a pain in our side to set it up on the new iPhone that somehow is different than the last iPhone that we set up.
Yeah, exactly, right? Leave that, let that be Google's problem. And that was really the last straw for me was, you know, I've got 50 people in a company that are running email. Now all of them want to IMAP to their latest BlackBerry. And it's like, yeah, I can write a little manual for that, but you know what? I don't want to. I just don't want to. And you know, all it takes is 10 typos, you know, copying over what they're supposed to put in, and then you got 50 passwords. You know, I forgot my password. Well, I don't know what your password is any more than I know what your password is for your admin access to DNN, right? So, yeah, David, you're exactly right. Email equals pain equals no profit. Not just that, but email is still the #1 business critical app that we know.
So with all those individual DNN instances that you're putting together, you have a version of DNN that you roll out that's already pre-set up to install your favorite modules or your favorite skins when you roll that out, or do you really wait and do it one at a time for each new one that you roll out? You put in the couple of modules or the couple of skins that you plan to use for those guys?
Yeah, I'm one of these guys that when I find a skin that I like, that's what clients will get for the next 2 years. So, and if the client gets too fussy around, you know, oh, the navigation pixel height is off a little bit, I'll be like, listen, you know, every newspaper in the world looks exactly the same. I don't care what language it's written in, right? I know that there's people seated here at the table tonight that take phenomenal pride in the presentation that that goes into creating a skin for DNN. I don't. Okay, I just don't, and certainly don't want to upset anybody's sensibilities. But for me, if the navigation works, it works. If I can change the CSS easily, that's great. As long as I can match up the skin with their logo, hexadecimal numbers, I'm good to go. And as long as the pane configuration isn't too much of a nightmare, and some of them are, I'm good to go.
So,
from an engineering point of view, function over form.
Dustin says that's an engineering point of view. You know, function over form.
Yeah, and I am not. I did graphic design. Hey, I actually designed a couple logos last month, right? So I can do it, but you know something? I'm not charging money to build a logo, and I'm not charging money for me to develop a skin. If I have a client that wants to plunk down 10 grand, I will get Tracy Wetkiller on that phone in a heartbeat, right? And if there's any of you guys that are gathered around here today, and you do design, and you're in a four-digit ballpark for doing that kind of thing, then that's fantastic. I want stuff to work, and I'm obsessed with functionality and making sure that the site does what it's supposed to do. To me, lipstick and hairspray is all just secondary to that, right?
So one of the questions that came in was about your clients or the distribution of clients. You know, what kind of size are these clients? When you are finding the right people who are the perfect fit, is it more about the personality of the person that you first run into and therefore those relationships, or do you find that, you know, once you get a company that has 20 or so employees, that's going to be about the right size of client for you? You know, what size of clients are there that you're targeting, looking for, or is it random?
It can be random. I mean, I've done some jobs for some pretty big organizations, U.S. military, you know, big mining companies, but they all have something in common, and that is turnover. And I don't like change, right? If I'm going to agree to get into business with somebody, I don't want to wake up tomorrow morning and there's somebody else across the pillow from me, right? So, again, to use that very poor analogy, I like a single point of contact. I prefer businesses that are between, you know, 1 and 25 employees seems to be my wheelhouse. But my criteria going in, not anybody can just get a relationship with me. I screen my clients way more than they screen me, right? A lot of people are just happy somebody's willing to actually do a website. I'm not that thrilled to be talking to somebody. I want to know whether or not, and this is my criteria, hey, you got to love me. All right, I will amortize the setup. In other words, instead of charging 12 hours to set up a site, I'll waive the first month, then charge $200 a month for the first year. If after that first month I think that this person is a complete imbecile, I won't take their money, I'll shut off the installation, I'll send them packing. If after that first month they love me, I'm going to Christmas dinner with them, hey, you're part of the fold, man. Part of the fold. And I will pick up the phone at 4 o'clock in the morning to deal with a client who's paying me $100 a month for ongoing support. And that ongoing support is just something I make up. It's search engine optimization work. It's I integrate social media, so I deal with making sure that the portal is connected to their profiles that are on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, Google+. You know, there's all kinds of stuff to do. It's not just building a website. It's getting and making sure that what's happening is that you're creating leads. And I can go into great detail about that. If you can justify or show that your solution in place generates 10 leads a month and 3 of those leads are converted, and those 3 leads translate to 3,000, say it's $1,000 per conversion, then those leads are worth $300 a lead, right? Well, asking for $100 a month when the portal is generating $3,000 a month is chump change. And hey, guess what? You can sit down in 6 months' time and say, listen, man, I use the form and list module, right? That people populate, and when they do, it keeps a record of everybody who fills that out in the secondary module, and that's the only module that I'll put in. Because I want to justify my place at the table, right? And by keeping those clients small and maintaining a single point of contact, I've been very successful. I am loved dearly by my clients. My clients are my extended family. My clients call me up more often to say happy birthday, Merry Christmas, Happy Easter, how's the baby, how's the wife, than they do to talk about business. That's the kind of client that I want for you.
That's the kind of client I want for me too. I want your yes. That is a perfect. Okay, so just a couple more questions to run through that I've kept track of. One of them is about training these perfect clients. Obviously, you're not giving them host access, but what kind of trainings are you doing for them to give them admin control or special user rights control over content? Do you give them DNN admin roles so they can do everything in the site? Do you only allow them to edit pages? What kind of control do you do, and what kind of training do you often give people?
Well, for the most part, even though we all know that people have used DNN, it's easy. It's 30 seconds to log into a site, click edit text on a HTML module, and make a change in the editor, no problem. A lot of the skins now that are coming down the line involve Bootstrap and different kinds of scripting. We're getting into that a lot now. Everything's got to be responsive. A lot of the content that I'll put in will actually be either in the footer or in the header of a module. Then that way I can limit what it is that I want them to change if there's functionality involved in there. But for the most part, I scare my clients and say, listen, if you change the text and you do that with the editor, you may blow something up. And if you do, it's going to take me a considerable amount of time to refactor that code. The other thing that I do is a lot of times I'll put in a page that they cannot access. It'll just be called GIF testing or something like that. I'll put in all my scripts in on that page. So when I take the script out or copy it out of a particular module and put it in a production page on the site, then that'll go live. If they goof it up, I don't have to call my hoster and say, do a rollback. Somebody blew up a table. I just go to my page that only I can see. It's basically embedded. It can't be reached through the navigation. Only I know it's there.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good way
that's
to kind of
excellent.
keep the repository.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah, you got to keep them in handcuffs, but let them feel free.
Let me turn around for any more questions, last minute questions here from the peanut gallery, from those folks that are online. Dustin, Michael, you guys have any questions at this point? Trying to see if I missed any other questions here.
I think, did you end up asking about like how, you know, the 100 by 100 would scale to, like, you know, if you weren't just a single person company?
One of the questions was about you know, that growth beyond it being just a one-man shop. In that you know, if you've got 100 by 100 and that's 1 hour a month maybe per client, how have you changed that or envisioned that scaling to having multiple people on a team? Is that more clients? Is that more hours per person? How do you keep track of your time, and is it right now you, or do you have other folks with you?
No, it's just me. I will call on if I'm brought into a situation where we have a you know, 5-figure budget, then I make calls. I make sure that I don't fumble the ball. Plus, it's people like to hear from me when I phone them up, because it means Gifford's got a 5-figure job, and so that's good. As the more money I can push out to the community for people with brilliant skill sets, the better, right? I'm very comfortable with the level of income that I'm doing, but how does it scale up? It scales up. It scales up by, hey, if you're running a two-person shop, somebody's got to be making sales calls, you know. And if they're your employee, hey, you don't give them that recurring revenue. You give them a salary, or you give them a commission of the setup, right? So I do have a lot of people that are out there who are making phone calls on behalf of Atlantic Web Fitters. They're drumming up business. Guess what they get? They get 50% of the setup.
Mm-hmm.
If after a year and they've brought on board dozens and dozens of clients and they've taken the time to learn DNN, they want to get involved in development, then I will bump them up to a percentage of the recurring revenue. But boy, I'll tell you, you got to work your phone as good or better than I do, right? People are scared of phones. What's up with that?
It's the new world, but I tell you, as more and more of us are getting used to having less and less stuff in our physical mailbox and less stuff on the phone, I think that when it's not just a random telemarketer, I think there's a much better opportunity to talk to somebody on a phone, or to start off with a piece of paper and impress people, and get a foot in the door differently than it was 15 years ago.
I just tell people that, again, work under me. I say, call up businesses. I don't care if they have a website or don't have a website or what they're doing. Just call them up and say, I'm a web guy. Do you need any help? Yes or no? If you get a yes, that's great. If you get a no, make another phone call.
Yeah.
It's how I built my business. It's how I got off the ground. And, you know, while I may have pulled on, I got a lot of yeses that turned out to be nightmare clients, but now that I have my flock, guess who is my sales team now? My clients. My clients are the one who says, you know, hey, if I say website around my web guy, he will poke me in the nose, right? Don't use website. Use web portal. .NET Nuke is a portal solution, not a website solution. So there's some marketing differentiations that can be made that will allow and empower your own clients to better represent and to speak intelligently about what you do and what you've done for them. Hey, some of the clients that call me brother, I want to do websites, I want to do portals and DNN installations for their family and friends. So that there's my sales force, my happy clients.
Again, another good rounding finishing statement. I know that anybody. I know that anybody who's been in these same shoes is thrilled at the idea of having people love those relationships and want to treat you and respect you as well as you're treating them, and that is fantastic. And if nothing else, from financial freedom and stability as an exciting focus point, being treated with respect for the good work that you do is more valuable than that. So congratulations, Gifford. Thanks for sharing this set of ideas with us here tonight. If I don't have any other questions from folks in the online side.
You gotta tell him, like, while he was talking about reaching out to people
David, yeah, I don't know if you were seeing the chat sides, but David was passing you his home phone number so that you can call him day or night. So again, just passing on the thank yous from everyone in the chat side. Thank you so much, Gifford. We are looking forward to seeing you the next time that we are in a conference or user group or community event. I'm not sure what the next one is coming up. I am sure that we will sponsor one down the line and put our own time together for something like that. And when we do, I promise you, you will be the first person that we go to grab and beg to come headline at our event.
Thank you. I appreciate that very much. Just don't give me 9 months warning if you're going to put a conference on.
We will do that. We will work around your schedule and make sure that we've given you plenty of warning ahead of time, or short warning, whichever way. Thanks, Gifford. We're going to go ahead and finish off tonight's user group meeting with the end of this session. We have a few things that we'd like to talk about at the next user group meeting next month. I have some points about DNN security, DNN PCI compliance and auditing and making it through an audit, tips and advice and links and references that I'd like to put together and share in a few minutes of presentation for anybody that runs across that. I know that we all combine things with hotcakes, with different store systems inside of .NET Nuke. There are plenty of other reasons why you have security audits on DNN instances, and there are just a few things you can do to help harden not only your hosting but to pass general security scans. But for legitimate things that don't pass those scans, it's helpful to at least have some references, some explanations, and some information to help support those conversations that you're inevitably going to have with a PCI scanning or auditing company. So we're going to talk a little bit about that at the next session. We will see if Clint Patterson will be joining us next time. He can give us a little bit of an update on community news on DNN releases. And then we will see if we are also joined by another couple of MVPs or people from the community to help share a session with us as well. So next month's meeting, Dustin, would you actually pull up the date for me? Next month's meeting, tentatively, will be here at the Microsoft office as well. But checking on the date here. Looks. We are talking about August the 20th. So third Thursday of the month begins at 6:30. Speakers and sessions begin at 7 o'clock. Thanks very much again to Gifford. Have a wonderful evening, and we will see everyone next time. Thank you.